Hi, my name is Andrew Kuo. You're at my show called You Say Tomato at Marlborough Gallery, and I'm lucky enough to have this be my third time on Fader TV. Basically, they're timelines. If there was two timelines that went from left to right, I'm basically scrunching them. I'm crunching them so they make zigzags, but they're still timelines. So if you had A, B, C, D, and then you compressed it and it bent into a zigzag, you would still have A, B, C, D. So that's kind of how these things work. Usually they're divided up into two things, like what actually happened and what I think happened. I love doing those things and how they offset each other. And this one 7 years ago, if you think about it, this timeline goes from top, up. So the triangles are the compressed time. And then from left to right on top is the exact moment of the things I thought happened coinciding with the actual things that happened. I mean, for me personally, it's like all these Post-its around my studio have like the vaguest, most embarrassing sentences on them or words on them, like friends or like time machine, you know, or things that I know are open-ended enough where like if something happens, I can apply it to that subject. I love talking about my friends. I love talking about time. This show is kind of all about those things. If I get too specific, I feel like not only do I put too much of a stamp on like a time and a place, but it kind of is not the story I want to tell. I don't want that feeling to come through of me versus you. I like the we kind of thing about it. At the opening, I was so happy to see so many of these old faces, and so many of these old faces are kind of like in there somewhere. And that sounds so ridiculous to say, but you know, it's like the little thing that makes it like kind of like a secret to me is important in the whole process. I think it's important for everyone to have a little bit of a secret. You know, like on the Food Channel, when they're just like, well, I'm not gonna tell you what the secret spice is, but it's always MSG. But they need that secret, you know, because it's the mystery that makes them happy. So this was painted, this was the oldest painting in the show, is the oldest painting in the show. I painted this during Linsanity. And for me personally, it was such an emotional thing, not only because of my heritage, but because of like what I enjoy thinking about with like what you see and what you think you see. And what people see is one thing, but what he did was completely the other. Like now he's playing for the Houston Rockets, and everyone is like, well, you know, after Linsanity, it was lucky. He got lucky for a couple weeks, and now he's not the player we thought he was. But if you look at the statistics, he's possibly even better than he was on Linsanity, on the Knicks, now that he's in Houston. But it's like the narrative you inject into something, and I thought that was really incredible. And the narrative I injected into that was like failure. Like this has everything to do in my life with like all these disappointments that I thought were out of my control. It's like I can't watch every single movie ever made. There's not enough time in my life, and I'm really interested in those limitations. And he defied enough of them in such an emotional way that like it really swept me up. But this painting was kind of, you know, it's kind of a stretch to say it's a self-portrait, but like it was about the disappointment that I thought was going to happen. You know, I do so much thinking and trying to not think about color all the time for so long that every single color combination is exciting to me. Every single one. Like you could take the worst colors I think are like the Mets-Knicks colors, like orange and blue. The grossest combination, like complementary combination. But now after thinking about it for however long I have been, I'm like, oh, that's exciting. Yeah, it's exciting because it's like the dumbest, ugliest combination, and now that becomes the most exciting thing to me, which is ridiculous. It's just like, I just like every single color combination.